This unit focuses on architectural letters. One of the definitions of the word architecture is the art and action of building and constructing. And in this unit, we are going to build and construct three-dimensional letters using one or both of the initials in your name. And we're going to take these letters once we build them, and we're going to decorate them with something that has some type of personal meaning or is a way of identifying or describing you as the artist. The work that we are doing is inspired by the letter sculpture of Robert Indiana. Many of us who have lived or were born and raised in Philadelphia are familiar with the Love statue, which is down in Love Park, which is at 15th and JFK. And this is a world-renowned sculpture created by Robert Indiana. As we go through this unit, especially towards the end, as we review the work that was done by other students, I want you to consider the design of their letters. Which designs are more interesting, which ones are more unique, and which ones may be better designed or more wisely designed. Both of these sculptures were created by Robert Indiana. One is in Hebrew and the other one is in English. The style of art utilized by Robert Indiana is pop art. This is art that takes its cues from pop culture, as in things that are found in the world of advertising, the news, or mundane everyday objects. These are some examples of pop art, including the Campbell soup can that was created by Andy Warhol. Robert Indiana is a sculptor and a painter, and he was born in 1928. He lived 22 years before, or his family's moved repeatedly 22 times before he was the age of 17. At an early age, he got recognition, or he gained recognition from his teachers for his artistic talent. As after high school, he received a Scholastic and Writing Award for his art, and he enlisted in the Air Force. After retiring or after leaving the military, he also enrolled in art schools. He became a commercial artist, painting traffic signs, commercial stencils, and trade names. In the early 60s, he did sculpture ensemblages, developing his style of vivid color surfaces involving letters, words, and numbers. He became known for his silk screens, his prints, his posters, and his sculptures. One of the themes from the Love sculpture is the brass directness of these words, stemming from their symmetrical arrangement of color and form. These are other versions of the Love statue. One's in Japan, the other one is in Spain, and there's another that's in Israel. And here are some other sculptures by Robert Indiana. When we start putting together our sculptures, we need to start off with the process of designing our letters. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a stencil that's in the shape of your letter. You want to make sure that the letters aren't too thin. You want to have nice broad letters because the letters are going to be three-dimensional and they're actually going to have a front and a back, and the middle is going to be suspended by Dixie cups. So you want to make sure that at no point in your letters are they thinner than 2.5 inches, and they can be up to 12 by 18 in size. When you're planning out your letter, you also want to remember that your sculpture needs to be able to balance and stand upright on a flat surface. If you take a look at this R, for example, it touches 3 different corners or 3 different sides of this square that it's inside of. So it's very upright. It's got a nice solid structure to it. Your letter sculpture must be able to stand on its own. You're going to design and create this sculpture with your initials on it. You'll also be using chipboard, cups, masking tapes, and at the end of the process, you are going to be wrapping the entire work in paper mache, which is a process of taking paper and using a pasty medium. In our case, we're going to be using flour and water, which will keep the paper wrapped and tight around the chipboard, and it will dry solid and nice and hard. If you've ever seen like a piñata, those things are made of paper mache as well. So on the first day, you're going to just get a little background knowledge on the artist Robert Indiana, which we've already done. Day 2, you're going to get some more background knowledge on Mr. Indiana, and we're also going to look at the need for balance and good design in your initial templates for your letters. Day 3 and 4, we're going to create our large stencils, and we're going to trace those on our chipboard. Day 4 and 5, we're going to finish our tracings and cut out our letters. And day 6, we're actually going to put together these 3D sculptures and prep them for being paper mache. If you look at this slide, it shows you steps 3 and 4. After you've cut out your stencils and you have a front and back of your letter made of chipboard, you're actually going to take these cups and you're going to space them out throughout your letter, and you're going to glue one side, and then once that one side is glued, you're going to glue the next side, put them both together so that they're both basically the letters are on both sides of the cup. You want to make sure that they're aligned properly, because if they're not aligned properly, then your letter will not be able to be balanced and stand upright. This image shows you step by step how you're going to take cups and you are going to glue them all along the pathway of your letter. So again, looking at the process, you're cutting the 2 main facades with scissors or a X-Acto blade. You're going to put the facades or the front and the back side down on the table. You're going to place anywhere from 4 to 6. Your letter may take more depending on how big it is, but you're going to take those Dixie cups, you're going to spread them out so that they can support the weight of the front and the back of your letter without any sagging. You're going to glue the cups onto the front or the back, and then once you've glued down one side, you're going to put glue on the top of the cups and you're going to lay down the other side of your facade or your letter. And after that glue is dried, you're going to be ready to paper mache. Again, your sculpture must have some creativity in your design. You're going to bring some elements of your personality out on your letter once you finish it. It also is a requirement that your letter be able to stand on its own. This is another slide of a letter that's been put together. Once you have that front and the back glued down, you're actually going to cut out strips of paper that are the exact width of the Dixie cup, and you're going to take that paper and you're going to tape it along the outside edge of your letters so that they're nice and firm for your paper mache. Taping tips: Tara cut a lot of pieces of tape because you really can't use too much. All the tape is going to be covered over with your paper mache, so you can apply as much tape as possible to hold that center piece of paper or board onto your letter. The curves in the corners should be attached with many skinny pieces of tape. Be sure to use enough tape to hold those center pieces onto your letters. You want to also make sure that you go back and you flatten your tape. You push it nice and flat because you don't want any ripples or bubbles on your letter once you're done. Here you can see a close-up of all the taped edges. strips should be made nice and sturdy so that the walls are all the way around your letter. Paper mache is a French word which means chewed paper. It's a composite material consisting of paper pieces or pulp bound with an adhesive such as glue, starch, or wallpaper paste. In our case, we're going to be using starch, which is just a mixture of flour and water. You're going to take many strips of paper, you're going to dip them into the paper mache, and then you're going to wrap them around your letter. You want to tear small, thin strips of paper because they'll be easier to apply, especially as you go around the curves. You want to start at the edges of your letter and get the paste on both sides of the newspaper strips. You'll also want to do about 2 layers of this paper mache so that it's nice and thick. So by day 7, you should already have your letter shapes already cut out and glued together. By days 8 through 10, you should be putting your paper mache together. By day 11 to 12, you should be finishing up gessoing, which is putting a white coat of paint over top of your paper mache product, which should be dry by then, and you'll be ready to paint and apply other materials. You want to think of a theme for your letter. So in the case of the K, it has a zebra pattern on it with ribbons. In the case of this J, it has kind of a nautical theme. It looks like a boater. You put it together because it's got a chain and an anchor, as well as the painting as though it was part of a flag for a yacht. Again, you want to think of a theme. You want to think of something that is expressive of yourself, which kind of helps tell a story because these letters are the initials in your name. So this sculpture is representative of some aspect of you.